Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships. Thanks for all of you who are newer to the channel from the Scharnhorst 43 video. That was a really fun game and really splendid first impressions of that ship. I haven't played it much more since because I've been playing another German ship here in the game, the Tier 10 cruiser, the Hindenburg. And honestly, I am disappointed I haven't picked up this ship sooner. So, from time to time, although it's been a while, I will do polls where I will have you guys and gals select one of 5 ships that I will do a Friday future on, and then on Saturday do the upgrade commander build video on. And so Hindenburg was the ship that won, and then you voted second for Colombo, so I will do that the next weekend. So, thanks for that. Hindenburg, she is a great ship. Really phenomenal. There are a lot of things that make this ship really strong, even though she's been in the game for quite some time. I will talk about the WoW's wiki, what they have pros and cons. 1 or 2 I disagree with, but I will talk more about that. One of the things, as I've played Hindenburg, and I've learned, I love Des Moines, I love Salem, I love Minotaur, so it's been, Hindenburg has definitely a different feel compared to those cruisers. Now, like Des Moines or Salem, she does share in having 203mm guns, which in total she gets 12 of, 2 turrets on the front and 2 turrets on the rear. Her shell arcs are more flatter and have a little bit better shell travel velocity, so it's actually a bit easier to hit ships at longer range, more consistently than maybe, let's say, compared to Des Moines or Salem. I mean, even Minotaur. There's just other ships you can compare it with, and that kind of helps me get a feel for it. Now, your conceal, as the sound guide's being a bit cheeky, the max conceal you can get is 12.6. Stock, it's like over 15, 15.5, something like that. So, quite a large detection radius. So you have to be really mindful of that in the early game in terms of your positioning. That's why you saw me slow down and kind of chill out behind the island. I was letting our submarine and our destroyer get a little further ahead and kind of figure out what exactly is going on over here on this flank. Now, I don't really recommend pushing up as, let's say, if you want to call this position aggressive at the start. Really what helps Hindenburg a lot is waiting to see what enemy ships are going to be on your flank. How are they moving? Are they pushing aggressively? Are they just like taking their time? Is there a submarine on your flank? Is there some destroyers on your flank? A lot of that information really helps you decide how to position, especially in cruisers and World Warships these days. So do keep that in mind. I would say that's something I've really learned over the 20 battles I've played over the week with Hindenburg. But with these 2 and 3mm guns, her high explosive is really good with solid penetration. The German cruisers, or at least here with Hindenburg or Rune and whatnot, they get the quarter pin. So that gives you really good penetration, where most other cruisers in the game, I think they said they get a like 1/6 pin. So that means you can get solid performance out of your high explosive overall, especially when you're able to bring all 12 guns to bear. Now, I will show you an example of the armor piercing later in this game, so do keep that in mind. Now, when I pick the video, so I've recorded over 20 videos, not live commentary, this is post editing, post commentary. What I'm trying to go for, it's not like, oh, I want to showcase the battle that has the most damage, or I just like, yeah, that's not like the goal in terms of the cherry picking. Of course, sometimes it's fun to cherry pick, but what I really go for with these Friday videos is trying to showcase you multiple different strengths and even weaknesses of the ship. So you're going to see a lot of strengths of the ship played out in this battle, even though it is a really good battle. The other thing that we have, which just ended, is our hydroacoustic search. We get amazing hydroacoustic search. It's the German hydro. So that means we're seeing ships up to 6 kilometers away, and seeing torpedoes up to 4 kilometers away there as well. So it really helps you when the times do come to, let's say, push in. Let's say you have a submarine like we have over here, as our sub is using his hydrophone, whatever you call it, in spotting him. So it's a really helpful asset because in addition to that, we get torpedoes. So the recent cruiser commander skill buff actually helps Hindenburg even more if you want to go for that skill. That's the Pack-a-Punch, which gives you 15% additional torpedo damage and 20% secondary battery firing range. Now I don't have that here on this video, this build that you're seeing right now, but with the torpedoes, as I'm trying to pull up that information here, in total you get 4, 8, 12, 16 torpedoes, 8 per side. They have a reload time of 90 seconds where you take any modifications into effect. And then, why is it not showing me the damage of these torpedoes? As we pick off the gearing there, he was being a little too aggro, and I sat there waiting for him to move up because he seemed like he very much wanted to kill our submarine, knowing he was there. So I'm assuming enemy sub used the hydro, so we wanted to take full advantage of that. But these torpedoes, 13,700 max damage without any build on in effect. Now let me just talk about what Hindenburg is really, really exceptional at. It's the games where I have had my best performance, base XP, damage, so on and so forth. She performs the kiting roll exceptionally well. Now, I'll try to, if I remember to, upload a picture of the turret angles, and if I understand this graph correctly, I think the turret angles are really similar whether you're shooting forward or in kiting. Yeah, I'm a little confused with the math here on the screen, but you can take a peek at it and see what you think. But she performs the kiting roll really well, also because she gets really good armor. But it's more easily citadeled at longer range because she gets a bit of a turtle back. So she's difficult to citadel close range. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's just much more difficult to do so. But Hindenburg really thrives on enemy teams pushing into you, where she can just get a lot of this DPM out. Now, in this video, when I didn't have enough commander points yet, but now I do. I have the top grade gunner, and I really recommend that here for Hindenburg. What top grade gunner does is that, well, one, you get a negative 10% reduction on your secondary battery reload time, but then you get a negative 8% main battery reload time when an enemy ship is detected within your ship's standard detectability range, so in this case 12.6 kilometers. And it is possible, it's up to you, you could go for more of a lighthouse build. I mean, I'll talk more about it tomorrow. So then you can bloom that up and get even have more of that reload buff, longer duration in the game. Now, we had to turn out there as we caught that Minnesota just in time. But you can see our team has won the 1-3 line flank. And so they've only killed 4 ships, so there's still a lot of enemy ships at play. We even have to be mindful of some of the battleships that are moving up the 6th line. In between that channel, so I want to be mindful of that as much as I can. But right now, it's really not worth us pushing into this. The enemy team is in a position where they kind of have to make a play, even though they have 2 caps, because our team is going to start flanking in on them. Because to a certain extent, we have the map control and we have a crossfire going on. That's why you see both of our battleships are up on the AB line. And our Brandenburg player who's with us does really well. In this game, if I remember correctly. The other thing, as I meant to mention when we talked about, you saw that submarine, you don't have the depth charge airstrike. This is ship-based depth charges, so that is rather tricky. I've not killed a sub with these depth charges yet, but it's a bit tricky to actually feel comfortable because this ship's maneuverability and size isn't like necessarily the best. In terms of feeling really agile to be able to, you know, dodge submarine torpedoes, or if he decides to shotgun you, right? So that can be really frustrating, so to speak, as this Neptune player is going to push up and probably take out our submarine player in eliminating that threat, so the battleships, if they desire to, can push up that 9-10 line. Here we get really lucky. The GK actually has moved up and he took some broadside shots at us. So that was a bit concerning there, but we did okay. And so now we're going to be kind of working on another thing that Hindenburg does well, and that's setting fires, right? So setting fires on different ships, and then moving on to another ship. So if I set a fire on GK, then maybe we would pop the spotter plane and start shooting the Massachusetts back there. So we do have a gun firing range. Make sure I say this right, because I can't fully see it on the screen. It is 17.83 kilometer, right? And then you get access to the spotter plane, which will give you additional 20%. And that's really beneficial and helpful since you have these more flatter shell arcs and decent shell travel velocity. So it helps you be able to get a lot out of the ship in that regard when you kind of get forced into this kiting and having to hang back a little bit. And we're not just continuing wanting to just go right up to the top of the A-line. We are playing with our throttle, of course, forward, reversing. See, we already have 1.4 million potential damage. So pretty decent for a cruiser. And it's probably going to, I think it goes up even as the game progresses. So when you get the Witherer, we set 8 fires, now 9 fires, and 160,000 damage. So you can get Witherers. I've gotten multiple with Hindenburg, I think maybe even an Arsonist or 2. So you can really pump out that damage with these guns, and there's the Confederates. Now, one of the things that I think would be really fun to have here on Hindenburg is Luchins. After you get 140 main battery shell hits, you get a decrease in your main battery reload time. I don't remember off the top of my head right now exactly what it is when you activate one of his talents. And playing Hindenburg here at tier 10 with this really nice reload time is actually really feasible, and that's something that's quite easy to do in that regard. Now, your stock reload time, if you've not built into anything, is 9.8 seconds. Now, I've taken the main battery mod 3 in the 6th slot, so that gets us down to 8.62. Then, you know, start taking things into account like Adrenaline Rush or that top grade gunner that I have now, not in this video, that begins to help out a lot. So let me go ahead, and maybe what I'll do is I'll just throw the pros and cons from the wiki here on the screen so you can see, and keep kind of commentary on the battle. The thing that I really wanted to talk more on, you know, if you talk about the firing range, you can boost it up to 20.7 with the gunfire control system mod 2. That would be in the 6th slot here in Hindenburg. So that's possible, but I like utilizing the spotter plane and not playing that far away. Yeah, I don't want to be necessarily that far away from the action in a cruiser. Her armor scheme is deceptively sturdy, as she's hard to citadel with her turtle back, especially at short range. And then the other thing they said is, I think they talked about the AP. Yeah, one of the highest damage cruisers armor piercing shells in the game. I doubt that's probably still accurate since Hindenburg has been in the game for a while, unless they've like edited and upgraded this. But that's the case there. So now let me kind of turn my attention back to the battle, as there is the storm, thunderstorm, which has kind of helped GK's conceal. So he pops up to us closer than what you would expect from a GK. So we're going to go ahead and utilize our heal. We're going to get that ticking because we are going to be taking some secondary damage here as we just crossed 200,000 damage. And we're going to be mindful, of course, one of the things as we pick up high caliber, you want to be mindful of with Hindenburg is you have to exert control of when you want to get your rear main battery turrets on target. So you can kind of see here how much side we have to show when we want to get those off. You know, now we've gone over a little bit. We're going to get our 6-kilometer torpedoes in the water if he's going to keep pushing into us. And so a thing that Hindenburg does exceptionally well, if you manage your health pool for like later on in the game as we are now, is that you can have that ability to just push back in. I'd say maybe in the beginning with Hindenburg, she's kind of a cruiser you play maybe a little bit more passively in. And then as the game develops, you figure out how the enemy team's positioning and things unfold. Then you can begin to exhibit what I guess I would say is a bite. Hindenburg bites well in that regard. So we're going to get 2 torpedo hits on the GK, which is great, giving us our 3rd kill. And then we're going to switch to the AP, because this Neptune, as this game is getting really close to ending, decided to smoke up, and he's broadside to us. Now, I'm keeping track of where he was roughly here with the spotting. and then also with the mini map. And here you get to see the AP performance at work, as we're gonna get some black ribbons with not even spotting the Neptune. So that's going. The one thing I did disagree with the WoW's wiki on is that I don't feel like it kind of represents the ship well. It says her high explosive shell damage is lower than all other tier 10 cruisers. Yes, perhaps low, but she gets really good penetration where other ships just are not going to necessarily have that. The penetration that you do get with these shells, as I'm trying to see if they have it listed here. Maybe I have to talk about that tomorrow because I don't see it here. So that was kind of something I was like, eh. As we get another black ribbon, putting us up to 279,000 damage, and the Neptune even complimenting us on the blind fire. Neptune is very easy to citadel, so we easily switched over to our 2 and 3mm AP. So that's going to be Confederate, Witherer, High Caliber, 279,000 damage. I even had another game just the other day for another 270,000 damage. This game kind of showed the battle, or what you can do with the ship, off a little bit more. We're talking about torpedoes, we're talking about the really good AP performance. We're going to be sitting on top of the team with 2,598 base XP. Our submarine, with that base XP booster that someone's get baked in, he's going to place second. And that Neptune on the enemy team played really well. He's actually got top of the team. Our fires were 81,000 damage. Our secondary battery, we didn't do any damage with. I'm looking at that correctly. Torpedoes, 12,000. And then our main battery, 185 with the total, 144 with high explosive, AP, 41,000. And we took almost 60,000 damage in total. And here is with premium accounts. Now, it's really great, of course, having the heal, having the repair party on Hindenburg. It really allows you to be able to do even more with the ship, of course, and being able to hang in there. I mean, most tier 10 cruisers have the repair party, right? So it's not something that's uncommon. It's just something that I really appreciate. So I think the ship is fairly well balanced overall. I don't feel like it's lacking anything, or it's needing buffed or even needing nerfed. It's, I think, pretty decent in the meta. That the Hindenburg is still rather relevant as we in 2023 and come into 2024. So tomorrow I'll do an upgrade commander build video on Hindenburg. I'll give you my thoughts on the commander, the upgrades. We'll talk about a lighthouse build if you want to do that with Hindenburg as well, and even get greater DPM performance. Of the battles I've played, I have to make this closing comment. December is a really weird, strange month of playing World Warships. You get a lot of players in the game who haven't played for maybe a while. They come back for the Snowflake event, and then they take ships out that they don't play ever. And I've seen a lot more blowouts, whether it's I'm on the winning team or I'm on the losing team. We just absolutely get obliterated, which I was kind of like the other 276,000 damage game I just had the other day. So December is a really strange month. So my win rate actually of the battles I've played so far in this ship is like, I don't know, it's like 47%. But my PR and damage is like great or unicum or super unicum. I think the average damage and PR I think was unicum or super unicum, and then damage ratio and what have you. So I have just found December a really interesting month for actually trying to showcase in future ship when the matchmaking is even so much more incredibly volatile. When you have some CV players and they on your team type in all chat at the start of the battle, "I'm sorry." So I've had that a couple of times happen where they're just like, when I'm like, "Why are you sorry?" You know, and they're like, "Well, I want to get more base XP, so I'm taking my CV out." And I think I had a Saipan player the other day or something do that, you know, and then on the enemy team is a super unicum CV player. So I mean, you can basically imagine how that goes. So I've seen a lot of that happen lately, and then they still play abysmally bad, and they probably could have gotten more base XP in asymmetric or even in operations if they're tier 8 to 6, right? And asymmetric is, of course, is like 6 to super ship, I believe. So I don't know, it's really strange, really odd month. So if you've noticed that, the blowouts, you're not alone. So yeah, anyhow, so I hope you liked today's video, and again tomorrow I'll do the upgrading commander build video. So until next time, take care.